Hi, this is Morgan Walton, and this is my case study for EDL 851, Supervision and Evaluation of School Personnel. So to summarize the case, through observations, Mrs. Stevens appears to be struggling repeatedly. Evaluations are due soon, and her final evaluation is subpar. After one final observation and completion of the evaluation, a conference with Mrs. Stevens is scheduled and to discuss not renewing her contract. Once informing her of this, she becomes angered by the evaluation form and the outcome. She claims that she will take things to court if necessary, and claims that proper supervision was never properly provided for her. Some legal and ethical issues that arise. Mrs. Stevens claims that she will take the action to court if her contract is not renewed. She specifically states, "It's easy to say involve them more," meaning the students, "but you haven't ever offered any particular or practical ideas on how to do it, or neither has my supervisor. As far as I'm concerned, the supervision I've received has not been helpful. How can you say that I've not been responsive to supervision? I haven't received any real supervision yet." She claims that she was never provided proper supervision or support as well. Her parting words, "If you decide what to do with this form, but I want you to know that I don't intend to take this kind of rating without a fight." And she then states that she will take it to court if necessary, and that the school has failed in their supervision for her. In one sentence, to sum it up, Mrs. Stevens does not feel that she has been given proper supervision or a fair evaluation from her principal, and plans to fight the outcome if her contract is not renewed. So the facts. There's only a few people involved in this case study. That would be myself, the principal, and Mrs. Stevens. The superintendent is not yet informed, although I believe they do need to be immediately. Any details about the location, the school, the demographics, etc. are not provided for this case. I am assuming that it is a public school, although that is not provided as well. As far as the program goes, the grade level or the subject area is not specified either, although they do state that the students converse constantly and that they do not respond well when she calls on them for action. I am assuming that it is an elementary grade position, but again, that was not stated. Mrs. Stevens has an excellent background in her subject area, and this was provided in the case study. So to review and prioritize, not all the stakeholders are aware yet, as the superintendent has not been informed at this time. He should be informed immediately following the conference that we just had. The superintendent needs to be informed that it did not go well, and that she stated that she would take it to the courts if she needed to. All currently involved have high stakes in this situation. Mrs. Stevens has the risk of losing her job or having to hire an attorney and take the school to court. For this situation, the principal also could be in a court situation as well with Mrs. Stevens, and the superintendent is the overall superior in this situation, so the superintendent has high stakes as well. I feel like I need to learn more about this situation. I don't feel like I know enough about it. What's been provided to her in the past? Has she struggled repeatedly in the past that it's actually been properly dealt with? Has the principal made an effort to help her, or have they just simply observed, filled out the form, and moved on? And then what has Mrs. Stevens done to improve her teaching? Has she taken action herself? Do they have a professional development plan in place? What are the guidelines for this school district? I also feel like I need to know more about their evaluation system, as the image that was provided in the case study was minor and very, very vague. There was not any details. It didn't state that there was a lesson plan or any specifics given by the teacher. So I feel like that's an important information as well. I really feel like I need more of this information to make an informed decision. However, I did come up with some possible options. The first option would be to take no action, no decision is made. Option 2, have another meeting with Mrs. Stevens and the superintendent and discuss the evaluation. Offer one more year to work on improvements together. Option 3, have another meeting with Mrs. Stevens and the superintendent to discuss the evaluation and then continue with the non-renewal process once we've discussed this further. And then option 4, do not renew her contract and fight her in court if necessary. So let's evaluate these options. Number 1, no action taken, no decision made. A pro, there's no court case because nothing's going to be done about it. A con would be no improvements are made. If she's struggling that much, then she really needs improvements. And a con to this, if nothing is done, then no improvements are likely to be made. Option number 2, have another meeting and then offer 1 more year to work on improvements together. Pros to this would be no court case as she's keeping her position and Mrs. Stevens receives another year to improve. She's given another chance. Cons to this would be another year of possible struggles and more students who are not given effective teaching. And then it also might set the wrong tone for authority. And then finally, Mrs. Stevens could receive tenure if she's there for another year. So we would have to figure that situation out as well and see if possible 1-year renewal is possible, or if she would receive tenure after this current year. Option 3, have another meeting and then continue with the non-renewal process. The pros, chance to hire a more effective teacher, and you're not going back on your word. You say you're going to do something and you do it. It really keeps your authority intact. A cons to this, possible court case, as you'd be not renewing her contract, and then you could get a negative view of your school and or yourself as the principal if you don't renew her in spite of not providing her any support. And then option 4, don't renew her contract and fight her in court if necessary. Pros, you'd have a chance to hire a more effective teacher and your authority stands as you are doing what you said you would do. Cons to this, it could be very, very costly. Likely money that the school doesn't necessarily have, possibility of losing, and you'd still have negative image of your school if you let a teacher go and fight them in court to ensure that they're gone after not providing them proper support and supervision. So what's the best option? I really struggled with this because I don't feel like I have enough information. With only the current information that I have, I cannot make an informed decision. I need to know what's been done in the past to support Mrs. Stevens, if anything has been done. She stated that nothing has been provided for her or any specifics and no practical ideas were given. However, we know that this might not be true. She may have been given ideas, options, support, and she just didn't take them. And then I also need to know if any discussion of her struggles have been made in the past. Is this the first time that she's made aware that the principal is not pleased with her performance, or has this been an ongoing issue all year? If I had to make a decision right now, I would choose option 3, which is have a meeting with her and the superintendent to discuss the evaluation and outcome, and then continue with the non-renewal process. In my opinion, I feel that hopefully this principal, being myself, I would have already discussed this with her in the past. This would not be the first time that this has been brought to the table. I know that if I were the principal, we would have discussed this many times and she would have been provided with support, resources, professional development opportunities, and many options and opportunities to improve and get better. So this would mean that her case would not stand in court as she was provided, but I definitely would have to have the proof and the evidence that this was provided. So if I had to make a decision, knowing myself as the principal, that would be my choice is option number 3. So to implement this, my first step would be first to inform the superintendent and then gather any assistance from him or her as needed. They likely have a lot more knowledge in this situation and know what would be best for the school district in this case. My second step is to have a meeting with Mrs. Stevens. Regardless of what the outcome we decide, we have to have a meeting and we have to discuss this together. And it has to be with the superintendent as well, and we need to discuss the evaluation and why she received the evaluation that she did. Third, we need to discuss why she was scored this way and provide proof of any proper supervision she was given in the past. Like I stated previously, we would have to have evidence that she was given opportunities, she was given practical ideas, she was given the chance to improve multiple times via opportunities and mentors, and myself giving her information and ideas. We have to have that proof. And then number 4 would be to discuss a better, more detailed evaluation system with the superintendent. If the screenshot that we received in the case study is the final evaluation form, it is terrible. It's very vague, it does not provide detail, and it also doesn't have space for teachers to evaluate themselves or lesson plans, questions, opportunities, notes. It's very, very vague, and I feel like it would definitely need some improving. So this is my case study. Thank you for watching.